Hi, good morning children. Welcome to your online class children. In today's class, we shall try to discuss about the remaining part of the lesson, that is effect of change of pressure on matter. In the last previous class, we learnt about the temperature children. In today's session, we will discuss about the pressure children. Children, what is pressure? Can anyone define children? I think it is not possible. Then how does this pressure act on the matter in changing the state of matter? Suppose if I want to change the state of matter from solid to liquid and liquid to a gas, then pressure, what is the effect of pressure? I have seen in the last session class we have discussed about the temperature, but in today's class about the pressure children. Children, whatever may be, now I am taking a fixed area and I am applying some force on this area. This force is called as an pressure children. In our daily life, we come across pressure. When exams are approaching fastly, we feel pressure, isn't it children? We feel pressure, isn't it? Pressure is force by area. Pressure equals force by area children. F by A. Force means here, suppose imagine this is the fixed area. Okay children, fixed area, and I am applying some force on this area. This is called the force acting on this fixed area is called as pressure children. In this sense we can define what is pressure. I have fixed area and I am applying some force, that is called as pressure children. Okay, I will take some other substance like duster, and this is a fixed area and I am applying some force on this. This is called as pressure children. Got it children? Okay, let me take one more example children. Suppose you want to hang a photo in your room. What you will do? You will take an iron nail, isn't it children? You take a fixed area on which on the wall you mark, and you take an iron nail and you try to apply some force to this iron nail, so that with pressure that iron nail is fixed in the wall children. This is specific area, fixed area, and the hammer which I am hitting at the iron nail is the force children. With this force, with pressure it is entering into the wall children. That is one more example for pressure children. Now you understood clearly what is pressure. But in chemistry, this is general pressure what we spoke up to now. Now in chemistry pressure is different children. It is the property of gases. In gases, how the particles will be? In a gas, the particles are very free, isn't it? They are free to move. They move continuously, randomly, in all directions. The pressure, the force exerted by these gas particles on the walls of the container is called as pressure. As the pressure increases, what will happen here? The particles will exert some pressure on the walls of the container children. By randomly they will be moving, isn't it? Continuously. That is called collide. Collide means what? Striking to each other. The particles will strike to each other. That is called as collide each other, and they create the pressure on the walls of the container of the gas. That is called as pressure children. This is how the gas LPG is filled in your cylinders children. Okay, by pressure. So only LPG with a specific means with a fixed volume, the pressure is filled in the cylinder children, LPG cylinders. Okay, LPG gas is filled in the cylinders. The pressure of the gas is the force that a gas exerts on the walls of the container. Yes, the The force exerted by the particles on the walls of the container is called as pressure in the chemistry. Okay. Like one more example I can give you, children. When you blow air in a balloon, isn't it? When you blow air in a balloon, it is a fixed, isn't it? Balloon is fixed. When you are blowing, the balloon will enlarge. And as the pressure you are exerting on that balloon, lastly it enlarges. When it is there is no space, at that time what will happen? The balloon will burst, isn't it? With maximum, and that is with maximum pressure was filled in that air, in that balloon, and when it is over, it was burst, children. Got it, children? Now, the more number of particles enclosed in a volume, the more will be the pressure exerted by the particles, which I have told you. Means, here I have taken volume, means here a balloon, isn't it, children? Fixed balloon. In that balloon, I am blowing the air. As I blow the air, the volume, that particles are exerting pressure, isn't it? By pressure, that air is filling in that balloon, and full space is occupied. When it exceeds, when they start exerting pressure on the walls, then the balloon will burst, children. Now, do you understand, children? What is pressure? How it is increasing and how it is decreasing. As we decrease the volume of the container, the pressure inside the container increases. Suppose this, children, I can give you one example. As we decrease the volume, injection, children. I think everyone have this experience. When the people try to give injection to you, what they do? They take a syringe, isn't it, children? They pull the piston and take medicine inside the syringe, and when they push the piston with pressure, the medicine will be injected into your body, children, isn't it? So here, now if I say this is the piston, here syringe, I'll take, children, and here now I should remove like this. This will be inside. If I pull it out to this much extent, it won't be. First like this it will be. Now I should take medicine into this. What I should do? I should pull this. When I pull, automatically this will come to this extent. Okay. Here all medicine will be there, children. Isn't it? When you start, means here volume is same. Now I am decreasing the volume. How? By pushing this piston. Here I am pushing this piston, means piston is occupying the volume here, and these particles are coming closer and it is injected into the body. Got it, children? The pressure inside will increase. When the volume decreases, pressure will be increased. This we experience in injections, children. Is it clear, children? The particles will collide more and they exert pressure on these walls, and it will come to the needle and it will be injected into our body, children. This is what we want to say about the pressure. The colliding capacity of the particles will be increased as we decrease the volume, children. So, in others, we can convert a gas into liquid also, children, by applying this. By applying this technique only, by decreasing the volume. By decreasing the volume and increases the pressure, then we can liquefy gases. So that's what, by this technique only, liquid petroleum gas is available in our cylinders, which is used by our mothers in our daily cooking. Isn't it, children? By this, how they do? They decrease the volume and increase the pressure. Then that gas will be liquefied and stored and we can be used, children. Got it, children? Is it clear? Now, we can say that pressure, by applying pressure, particles of matter can be brought close together. Yes, by applying pressure only, we can bring the gas particles together. Then what will happen? The colliding energy force will be more and they get more energy. By applying pressure and reducing temperature, we can liquefy the gases, children. One simple, this I want to show, children. By one diagram I want to show you how interconversion of matter takes place, children. Okay, children? Now we understood what is pressure. Now I am taking here a solid. Concentrate, children, on what I am saying. This is a solid. Here it is a liquid, children. Here again I got gas, children. Here again liquid, children. Conversion of solid to liquid is called as melting point, children. Melting, isn't it, children? Melting. Solid is, means solid ice is melted to give liquid. From liquid is evaporated. Evaporation. Due to evaporation, what it will happen? It is changed into gas, children. When gas is condensed, children, we get liquid back. When gas is condensed, we get liquid, children. Again, when liquid is solidified, we get solid. Okay, children? And when solid is changed into gas, what is that we call, children? I explained to you in the previous session, children. That is called as sublimation. Gas is directly changed into, solid is directly changed into gas, children. And gas is directly giving back solid. We call it as deposition, children. Isn't it? This is what the concepts you should remember in the interconversion of these states of matter, children. I once again explain you. Solid, like ice, solid ice is melting. That process we call it as melting. We get back here liquid. And liquid, when it is evaporated, gas, children. Gas is condensed, we get a liquid. When liquid is solidified, we get a solid. Solid directly converts it into gas. That process we call it as sublimation. And gas is directly converted into solid. We call this as deposition, children. Okay, children? Now is it clear? This is interconversion of states of matter. Interconversion of states of matter. Interconversion of states of matter, children. Is it clear, children? This is very, very essential, children. Okay, children. Now we shall discuss about what is evaporation. As I told you, gas is evaporated, liquid is evaporated and changed into a gas. That process we call it as evaporation. Okay, children. The phenomenon or the change of liquid into vapors at any temperature below its melting point, below its boiling point, is called as evaporation. Once again I repeat the concept. What is evaporation? The phenomenon of change of liquid into gas, means vapors, at any temperature below its boiling point is called evaporation. Got it, children? What is evaporation? Below its boiling point is called as evaporation. Change of liquid into vapors. Liquid water. For this, we can have number of examples, children. As we see water cycle, water in the ponds, lakes get evaporated due to sun's heat. Isn't it? They form gas and move up. Isn't it, children? That is what we call it as evaporation. Liquid is converting it into vapors. Vapor means nothing but a gas state. That we call it as evaporation. Very, very important phenomenon. Isn't it, children? Water in seas, ponds, lakes evaporate due to sun's heat because the particles, the water particles in that ponds, lakes, some particles, not all the particles, some particles with more energy, they come to the surface and they say bye-bye to the remaining water particles and they evaporate, children. They go up, isn't it, children? The vapors, they convert it into vapors. So, that process we call it as evaporation. Here, sun particles, sun is very, very important, children, due to sun's heat only. The more energy they come across, the more the rate of evaporation is. The more energy they possess, the rate of evaporation will be more, children. Now, we see what are the factors on which this evaporation is depending upon, or on which factors the evaporation is affecting, children. Evaporation, I think now you know. What is evaporation, children? Evaporation is a phenomenon where the liquid is converting into vapors at any temperature below its boiling point is known as evaporation. Now we see the factors affecting the evaporation. Now evaporation should be more. Then what we should do? What are the factors which are influencing the evaporation? Firstly, it is surface area. First point is surface area. Children, factors affecting evaporation. Okay, children. First one is surface area. Children, one example. You take the clothes, isn't it? Your favorite clothes. You want to dry the clothes. What do? You go, you put it under sun, isn't it, children? When you put under the sun, if you put as the clothes are like that without spreading them evenly on the rope or on a string, then the clothes will not dry soon, isn't it? When you spread that clothes, means without any folds, you spread it. As you increase the surface area, the rate of evaporation will be increased. The more the surface area, the more evaporation is. Means surface area is directly proportional to evaporation. As you increase the surface area, the rate of evaporation is more. When you did not fold. Suppose you think you want to put your favorite t-shirt to dry under a sun. As it is, as your mother washed it, you'll go and put it to a rope. It won't dry soon, isn't it? Because surface area is less there. When you spread it, when you spread evenly on the rope, then surface area is increased and even the cloth, the t-shirt will dry soon, children. Means rate of evaporation will be faster. That is the first factor on which evaporation is depending upon. Second factor is temperature, children. Temperature. Children, to discuss about this temperature, now in winter season, if you put your clothes to dry in the hot sun and you tally, when you in the month of June or April or June, children, in summer month, and you compare to a winter month. In which month the clothes will dry soon, children? Of course it is summer only, because temperature will be more in summer than compared to the winter, children. So here they release in summer, they release more energy. The temperature has more energy. Rate of evaporation also will be directly proportional, means as you increase the temperature, evaporation will increase. As you decrease the temperature, rate of evaporation will be decreased. In winter we have temperature less, isn't it? Even the climatic condition, you say today's temperature is, I think we won't even cross 30, I think now. Isn't it, children? So here summer temperature means in summer season we have rate of evaporation more as compared to the winter, children. This also by drying our clothes in a summer day, and even we should tally to winter day, where it is more in summer as temperature is more and rate of evaporation is also more, children. Third factor is humidity, children. What is this humidity, children? Do you have any idea? Humidity means number of water vapor present in the atmosphere. When almost every time water vapor is present in the atmosphere, but it varies. In dry air, same. In summer, rate of evaporation or humidity is dry in summers as compared to winters and rainy, isn't it? In rainy season, I think now we'll be getting rain, and here we want to dry our clothes. How can this happen? The rate of evaporation is inversely proportional, isn't it? As humidity is more, rate of evaporation is less. When humidity is less, means water content in the atmosphere is less, rate of evaporation is more, children. Means when it is dry, humidity is dry, then we can have evaporation more, children. Too much of humidity, less is evaporation. When humidity is more, water particles are present in the atmosphere more, then we have less evaporation. Next factor is wind, children. Wind. Increase with wind speed. Windy days, air is blowing fastly, more windy. At that time, the rate of evaporation is more. How? Wind will come and strike the clothes, take the water particles and move and make the clothes dry soon. Isn't it, children? ಗಾಳಿಗೆ ಬಟ್ಟೆ ಹಾರಾಕಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? ಜಲ್ದಿ ಆರೋಗ್ತದೆ. Isn't it? ಜಲ್ದಿ ಒಣಗೋಗ್ತದಲ್ವಾ? Isn't it, children? For the speedy means wind, as the wind speed is more, then we have rate of evaporation will be more, children. These are all the factors on which evaporation is depending upon, children. These are all the factors, 4 factors: surface area, temperature, humidity and wind are the factors which are affecting evaporation. By this, children, I complete my first chapter of chemistry, that is matter in our surrounding, and in the next class I'll be continuing that biology, the fundamental unit of life, isn't it, children? I'll be continuing that and I'll be giving notes. Let you copy the notes of this lesson, children. Okay, children, thank you.